Hey, you guys, welcome back to an episode of the Melanin Playbook.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Yeah, so you are getting a two-piece with Hercules and Queen, and we decided to take this episode and have some wow out fun with it. So this is entitled Insecure, Growing to Love Self. Shout out to Issa Rae. She is our biggest inspiration for it. So, I,
Yes.
yeah, we're tuning into the final season. Can you believe it, Queen? It's the final season of Insecure.
Yes, no more. I'm
Like,
sad about it because I really, 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 really love the show. To me, it's very it hits home. It's relatable. That's the word I'm trying to find. It's very relatable. I love Insecure, so I'm really sad. Tears,
I
tears, tears.
know. I'm like, bro. And then I'm just gonna say this, y'all. Daniel better come somewhere in here for the season end because that's my boy. Oh, yeah, I know. I know. Only can hope.
I thought he was in there. They had somebody that looked like him in there, but I was like, no, that's not him. So,
So we have to see. We have to pray on it because right now she done broke up with Lawrence. They showing
that
all
was
these
at the
things. What
end.
I
I didn't
know.
understand that part.
So he was pregnant with. Well, he got Condola pregnant, and that's just something he can't
Okay.
get over. So it's kind of like she just saying, "No, I'm good." But
Yeah, and she walked away with that baggage. And
yeah,
speaking of insecurities, that's a big, saying that can play a big role with your mental health and insecurities, feeling like, well, why me? You know what I'm saying? Why you didn't choose me or why, So that was a
yeah,
big part in that with her walking away with her suitcase, meaning I'm taking me and I'm leaving the situation. So that's what I got from it when I seen
yeah.
that.
Like it was like it's a lot. It's like I can understand her point of wanting to separate because I mean I want to be the first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just you know it's I couldn't deal with it either. With like you what you know what, I'm a mix. So I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I'm gonna be honest and I'm gonna be transparent. It happened before we got back together. I feel like it ought to be some leeway due to that. I can see if you got Condola pregnant after we got back together. But it came after the fact. Like, come on, man. Come on, Issa.
And then you trying to get, yeah, true. But that's still she had got cool with Cadola, so I figured she feel like, well, nah, y'all, y'all be easy. That's y'all situation. I can see where she was coming from with it, with growth
Yeah.
in my own life. So
Yeah. So that's why we took the time to do an episode called Insecure. I mean, Insecure and is growing to love self because we saw in the first episode, you got Issa's on a panel talking business in the college. You got Molly's trying to learn to love self all back over again. You got, what's her name? Tiffany and Derek, who are getting into loving the parenthood. We ended the season off last season with Tiffany going through postpartum. So that was good to see that she's like, has wrapped her mind around being a mother. And then you have Kelly, who is supposedly dead, but yet, trying to
right,
change some things up with herself. So we did Growing to Love Self because I think it is very, very important to battle out those insecurities that you have internally. Um, to get better, to be better, to do better, to have more for self. I think it's hard to make moves that are going to be dramatic and fun and great and growing for you when you are too insecure to make them.
true. And insecurities can bring out irrational thoughts. To me, would personally being insecure can push out people that really care about you. Um, or feeling like you're not understood, so to say, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah.
And I think like because y'all we're not just gonna touch base on last night episode, we're gonna go back. So just FYI be listening in. But like I think insecurities kind of leave you trapped in situations. And one of the situations I can refer back to the show in was Issa staying where we got y'all. Like I think it was locking herself in a moment and feeling like she couldn't do any better, that life wouldn't be any better. So then she was just like, I'm gonna stay here and be that that awkward body in the building and hold on to my insecurities regardless of how much they're crippling me. You know, she was like, "I'ma stay. We got y'all," and she hated we got y'all. Let's just say that. You know,
And
she hated.
insecurity is a bubble. It was a bubble for her.
Yeah, it was. It really was, and you know, she never thought of herself as having more. And then the only reason that um she really pushed to try to get out of it was, to be honest, Lauren, sometimes when you're around people and the situation, you know, you seeing it worse, so you like it make you step up your game, be like, I gotta do better because he around here sitting in rags. I'm not gonna be on the pathway to just hold it in my insecurity just the way he's doing. And I think they initially dragged each other down in that process. And sometimes in life when you're bound in with someone else and they're that insecure, you can find yourself falling into the same traps that
Insecure.
they are.
Yep. Their way of thinking brings your way of thinking down, and or he, you know what I'm saying, or it's not even a he, just a situation. It could be family, friends, or anybody. If they don't think good of their self, they're gonna get you in the mind state of not thinking good of yourself, and you could be just fine, but then you know what I'm saying, or just stronger than what you feel like you are. But the circle or the people you around can, like what how they say, you are who you hang around, so to
Yeah,
say. So sometimes it takes a time where you have to step in the mirror and self evaluate yourself, and as eyes, she not on here right now, but manifest great things about yourself,
yeah.
to help you out.
And
And
if you notice, Issa does that a lot, like throughout the entire series. That
yeah.
talking in the mirror and like
Mhm.
sitting there and like, oh, giving herself affirmations. Giving those little rhymes and, and rhythms that she does in the
Girl, where
mirror.
we at today? What we doing?
Right. So it's fun to see that, and then it's also like I think the turning point for the show was when she walked out of We Got Y'all. Like it was that moment of you could see on her face that moment of freedom. It was like I've chosen self over all the BS, and she was able to just walk out. So
Mhm.
which we
Cause
don't do that in situations. We don't do that in situations.
over the time in the show, watching through season 5, she's very more she's very more outspoken.
Yeah.
Not
And
humble.
aware. I could say she's aware. Like she doesn't let things become a distraction for her not to feel what's really going on. I think she completely soaks it in now. Where in season one you kind of tell she hated being with Lawrence, but she was there because it was comfortable. And when
Mhm.
Lawrence left, I think it just shook her up enough that I don't think Issa originally wanted him back because she was truly in love with Lawrence. I think she wanted him back because it was the familiar part of her life. And I've sacrificed, I've given up, I've done all of this. And now I don't even have what I've suffered for. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of what it was for her and Lawrence.
Yeah. Yep, true. And then, with the situation with Molly, every time I felt like she tried to come to Molly, you know what I'm saying? It goes back to people you're around. I think Molly dragged Issa down with her problems. But as soon as Issa came to Molly with hers, she was so busy, so racked up,
Yeah.
and that can play a part on big part in insecurities as well.
Yeah, and the thing about it was funny with Insecure is it being the title of the show, and then it's like a lot of insecurities get exposed throughout the series, and you watch Molly go through hers, and you watch Tiffany with insecurities about motherhood, insecurities about motherhood. The only person who really didn't show her insecurities until now, and it's funny being the last season, was Kelly.
Yeah, true,
Kelly,
true.
I think Kelly insecurity was never being taken seriously and always being a joke.
A joke.
Whereas it's like I got feelings and I got stuff too, and maybe comedy or being comedic is my way of dealing and working through the issue. But y'all don't see it that way. Y'all just see it as I'm joking, I'm fun, I'm yada yada yada. And you can see like partially through the reunion, like she's emotional in spots, and this is all y'all remember about me. Everything was a joke. It was like a realization that they only remember the funny crap I did and not the important stuff about me as a human.
And I
And that can make you feel insecure. You like, so is there anything valuable? Is there
Yeah,
anything that you find that's strong enough to solidify who I am as an individual? So then you ask yourself like, okay, do I love the fact that this is me? You know what I mean? Or do I want to change that image?
true. And I felt, I mean, that it's funny that you brought that up because pretty much that's me. Everybody who knows me know that I'm silly and fun and loving. And, in the conversation we had earlier, I feel nobody takes me serious.
Yeah,
So, in that episode or that part, I felt that very much when you said it, it really rung a bell. So, that can be, yes, a big insecurity, or you hide your insecurity. So, the silliness or the jokiness is pretty much hiding, pretty much how you feel,
yeah.
because you feel like if you come out and talk about it, nobody's gonna,
Take you seriously.
take
They're
you
gonna
serious.
think it's a joke, and it's gonna
Yeah.
laugh it off. Yeah. So I'm gonna say this, and I know people like listening. We all ask ourselves this question since the season, not even the season, the series has started. And since we're, on our insecure kick tonight, what character do you feel like you connect with the most on the show, and why?
Okay. Yeah. Now that'll be a good question answer in the box for everybody. So who do you think? I mean, it's not that many men on the show. It is, but it's not like acting roles. But out of
Yeah,
the two, who do you think that you most, have similarities with?
although I'm not like his biggest fan, Nathan.
Okay.
I would say Nathan because I did what he did a lot, which was just flow day to day, doing the running, the traveling, and I kind of knew something was wrong mentally, but never wanted to fully address it. And then when I finally did, it was like a light bulb. It was a click, and it's like now I can move through life a little better because I know what my weak points are. I know, what I need to work on, how to keep self regulated, not to hide stuff within myself. So I would say that's who I feel like I connect with as far as male wise.
Hmm.
Female character wise, just being 100%, I'm straight up Issa. Like I'm straight up Issa all the way. I crack the jokes when I'm alone. I talk to myself. I feel like the awkward black guy, so to speak. So it's kind of like I have a lot of friends around me that were highly successful and highly doing things. And then, now I'm into it. I'm running my own business and starting up things. And like what she said is honest. Some days you get up and you feel like, oh, this is the most amazing thing. And some days you get up and be like, I may not want to do this next week. Like, I don't know, and so I hate that she did her interview that way, but I agree that it was very blunt in the truth. Like,
It was.
it was like not everybody. Some people start stuff and just you thought this was your passion, this was your craft, and you loved it, and it's like now I can log out. Like and be done with it.
And speaking back on that segment, on that scene, it seemed like everybody else on the panel was pretty much saying, what they thought the audience would want to hear. That's
Yeah.
what I got from it. But Issa was real true and raw, and everybody was just like crickets, like, you know what I'm saying?
Because
It's
when
like,
you're insecure, you mask it with courage or being courageous or spontaneous. You don't want people to know that you really don't feel, what you're giving off, the vibes that you're giving out there. And I think it took Easter being a bigger person to be like, look, I'm just going. It's me, as awkward as I am. Freestyling when she went to singing on the stage, everybody looking like, what is she doing? Like she's like that was an awkward girl moment, like she said, and she just, she put it out there, the realization of it. But
true.
yeah, but I'm not gonna let you skip past that question. You didn't say who you were.
Who I were? Yeah, I was about to say, let's spin the block. Let's spin the block. So
I'm gonna
let's
say Kelly, but I'll let you to figure out how
yeah,
all.
because I mean, I would say Kelly from season 5. Because I really, to be quite honest, I really didn't pay Kelly that much mind until this season. So when I was like really, I would say Molly. like with the like relationship wise, trying to, find love. Then, you talking to this person, that person. You know what I'm saying? I would say Molly from the episode up to now. And then when I seen what Kelly was going through, then I'm like, well, that's Kelly. I see myself in Kelly also, because at this point, sometime in my life, I feel like I held back so much just to fit in or seem normal to people when it was eating me up inside. So, I was like, well, shit, I'm finna be my true self, silly, open, flamboyant, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of that. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. Because pretty much, I feel like personally, if you don't like me, then there's something wrong with you. Yeah, I crack jokes and stuff, but it all comes from a loving place. I would never, I'm always have your back. You know what I'm saying? So to go back to Kelly, I feel Kelly. I felt her in that moment because it's like they put up her doing the stanky leg. It's like, damn, but I probably wouldn't have reacted that way at that moment because, me, I'd be like, oh shit, yeah, let's do the stanky leg.
Right.
So, and that goes back to the insecure. You got to take the dull moments and make it positive for you, for your sanity, and
Yeah,
not try
because
to live up to everybody's expectation, which
right.
causes insecurity.
I think that's because we allow people to label us, and then and Kelly became the funny girl, and that was her. She felt like that was her role, and so she played it, and she was like, "This is the piece I bring to the table, so let me do it outside of everything else." But then Kelly was a successful CPA. She had a bit. You never even heard Kelly struggling during the
Mm-mm.
entire series. So then it's kind of like we act like she was so um like so unprofessional, so wild and crazy. But it's like no, Kelly had her doing,
Stuff together.
doing her stuff. Yeah, she had her stuff together. And Tiffany, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know Tiffany had a job until season 4. But
Who is Tiffany? Who? Which one is that?
the pregnant girl, the girl that was
Okay.
pregnant,
Yeah.
I didn't know she had a job until season 4 when she was up there with Condola. I was like, oh, she works. Like I would have never thought. But
Yeah, I thought she was a stay-at-home mom or something.
right. But I think it's good to see Molly work through her mental stuff and then to see her try to overcome insecurities. Because insecurities play a big part. And I would say I'm not ashamed like to put out my insecurity. My insecurities coming up. One, I was a super skinny kid. So I hated that.
Admittance first.
Huh?
I said admittance. You gotta admit, like we was talking earlier. You gotta admit
Yeah,
it. Admit what's wrong. So go ahead. I ain't mean to
yeah.
cut you off.
And I was like a super skinny kid. And I was like very shy. I was very shy to myself because I didn't. I felt like I didn't look like everybody else, and then I felt like the ugly duckling. When you don't have people saying, "Oh, you a handsome guy," yada yada yada, this and that. It's like I didn't hear that, so I didn't feel that way. So I was always low when it came to my looks. That was my insecurity. So I said, "Nah," I drew to myself. Just always in the corner. I wore a jacket for security. Like I was really the awkward kid. Like I'm not gonna lie, I was an awkward kid. And I was even bullied as a kid. You know what I mean?
Me too.
So like as I got older, I remember being in high school and I started to pick on weight and this and that stuff. So I was, I wasn't feeling myself, so to speak, but I hung out with people older than me because they seemed to have it together, and that I didn't have to, go about looks and this and this. Like I fit in more with the older generation. And I
Mhm.
remember getting to college and graduating from high school, getting to college, and I remember running across old classmates, and they wouldn't even know who I was. And I'd be walking my sister, and they would think I was my sister boyfriend. And I'm like, no, like it's I graduated with you. They'd be like, oh my God, you look different. Yada, yada. And it's funny now because they see me now and they're like, really? Like, dude,
Yeah,
like, you
they're
look different.
huge.
And I'm like, well, I was like, some people, turn from ugly ducklings into handsome princes, and some went the opposite way. So, but and I'm not gonna lie, even being who I am now, I take photos and stuff, and people see me and they're like, "Oh, you're an attractive guy," this and that, and I'm like, you know, I still
Sometimes
sometimes question it. Like I'm like,
we don't see what other people see.
you don't see what other people see. So I'm
Cause like,
like, you
go ahead.
go ahead, no, go ahead.
No, like that day when I had that red lipstick on and stuff, you was like, "Oh, you look very pretty," and I was like, "You don't know how long it took me to start wearing lipstick and stuff like that because I was always so and I felt like I looked like Bozo the Clown."
No, no,
Or I had black gums. Everybody used to pick at my black gums when I was a kid. I was like, "Well, dang, that's beautiful." Like Whoopi Goldberg got black gums, or
right. And
so I
she ain't
got a
even got eyebrows. So
I got a super long face. They like, "Oh, well, your chin." They just call me Moose or something. Like my chin was long, but then you got to realize the people that pick at you and bully you, they have insecurities too. And so pretty much they're pointing out all your beautiful points. That's what I took.
yeah, because they don't want to look in the mirror and see how ugly they look internally. So then, of course, they poke at the insecurities they can see from the outside. Because a lot of we live in a day and age and time where people focus on the outside. People focus on the look of
We
things and
mm-hmm.
not the actuality. And if we want to insecure reference that would be Molly in her relationship with Andrew. I think Molly looked at the beauty of having a relationship and not the internal parts of what keeps a relationship going.
Going. Mm-hmm.
So she was insecure with herself of not being able to have a relationship. And when she finally obtained one, she was like, okay, well, I'm doing it this way and I'm trying to get everything I want out of it. And it's like, no, that ain't how you overcome insecurities. If you don't do it correctly, you'll forever sit in an insecure moment and your insecurities will destroy whatever you touch. Like you have
Mm-hmm.
to be able to address it internally first and then work on it on the outside. We can't look for people on the outside to help us with our insecurities.
Insecurities because they
That's
don't
why
know.
it's called
Insecurities. You gotta
insecurities.
look within to feel secure.
So,
So
but
yeah.
yeah, it was like so. Yeah, that's the one thing that got me like real sad with insecure going off. I'm like, bro, what?
And
It's
finally am just now
like,
getting back to friends, and I really like the fact of it's not really gonna do it. Well, it can because you never know how Issa feel, but
no,
you know,
Molly was insecure with if when it started out, Molly did show insecure. She was insecure that the relationship between her and Issa was going to turn back, which shows strong character for her because it showed that she really took um what she had done to Issa to heart, like as far as the vibe and the bond of what happened between.
yeah, true.
Because
They did.
she was like, "Are we going to be okay?"
I was gonna be, and Issa was just like, but
Yeah,
Issa got every right to do that because Issa was always, like I said earlier, Issa was always there for Molly.
yeah, and I hated in the moment of where it seemed like when Issa started to grow and become an entity on her own without needing Molly. It's a difference when you need somebody versus when you're there just to be there. And I think, when Issa started having things looking up for her and then
Mhm.
Molly did not, I think that was the issue.
The issue.
That was the biggest issue. Molly's like, I'm over here fighting to hold my stuff together and you just gliding by with smiles on your face and everything is going good. So she wanted to have her down in the same slump. So she was
Exactly. And Issa wasn't going for that. And
yeah.
that's the people that you got to watch out for because sometimes insecurity can be avoid what you call it an insufficient insecurity. Like you might be insecure and you don't even need to be. It just off the basis of the people that you're hanging around and how these people are making you feel.
Right. Yeah, they
So
don't
it's
they
like
don't see it that way.
So it's like, and then when you know what I'm saying, you really come to senses with yourself and realize, like, damn, I was really the shit. This motherfucker was just trying to hold me back or make me feel less than.
And
And
I
then
did
that
my due diligence.
right, and then that's when you start reclaiming your life and taking your life back, and then that's where you're viewed as acting funny or you switching up. But no, you never had my back from the start, and you had me feeling like this and this and this and the third. So let me, what I'm saying, get my face back. Let me start loving me again.
Right.
And at this point, you don't fit in the me in the me category.
Yeah. And I think the destruction of their friendship was not the fact that it was they were not seeing eye to eye. It was the fact you kept trying to keep the flow going after
The
not
dead
seeing eye to eye.
flow.
I think if you had to just acknowledge that Molly wasn't supposed to be your friend in this season, or maybe you just needed to step back, then it would have been fine. But I think it was the fact that little shit like she was like she told Molly, you was willing to let me fail over your newfound relationship, and I'm supposed to be your friend for this long, and things along those way. And I think they both became insecure in the friendship. It was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't feel it because I don't feel the support. I don't feel like we are who we're supposed to be. And so now we're tiptoeing around each other, and the little things that you do that would normally I would laugh off or just acknowledge that that's just you. I'm not doing that in this moment.
Pissing
Now I'm
me
looking at you
off.
like, why?
Yeah, it's pissing me off at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
so
it was cool. So it's like like I I I I think insecurities is a big thing that you have to grow from. I think it's always something that you gotta like dig deep down and overcome. And I can say majority of mine I have, my body is my main still my main insecurity, but it's different reasons. It's because I've
and
been
we
eating
are
birthday.
biggest critics.
Right. I've been eating birthday cake, so this dude put on some pounds, and I got to the 19th to get this crap off. So, but
Right.
it's kind of like little small stuff, not anything big. But I would say for the insecure fans that are on here right now, what was a key moment in the series that you think made you want to change something within your life or acknowledge something that you had been through within your life that you was like, wow, I can't believe they addressed
Well, oh well, that's yep. Like, share, subscribe, and comment to all the listeners. But I'm glad you asking some key. That's why I love you. You asking
it?
you asking some key points because, like we just said earlier, I feel like the Kelly moment was the key point for me,
Yes,
and they touched on the key point because it's like, all you never you want to be taken serious sometimes, and then when you are taken serious, like okay, pretty much at the table when everybody was telling Kelly about herself, and it looked like she probably was dead,
dead.
but she wasn't. I was like, dang. But sometimes we need to hear that from our friends or our loved ones or whoever because it's like, don't wait till I'm dead to tell me this stuff. Give me my flowers while I'm alive.
Right,
It doesn't matter. And then the most people, in the community or in the world, they think that giving people their flowers while they're alive is being mushy or too sensual or too whatever. But I don't see it that way because sometimes people need to hear that so they won't be insecure, so they won't be depressed, so they know somebody has their back.
right.
So that was a key point when what I took from when they were sitting at the pizza table, whatever they was eating.
I think it was East for me, especially of recent. I think it was Issa walking out of Insecure. Or Insecure. Walking out of We Got Y'all, like I said earlier. I think the reason why that one stood out because I was recently with a company for 4 years and I went through a lot of mental battles and things with that company and endured through a lot to stay a part of that company because I thought it was, detrimental to my lifestyle and me taking care of family and home, so I didn't want to make the change to leave. And it wasn't until recently that it just became too much. And it felt like it was consistently on me.
True.
And then I was like, at this point, something got to change. And so to speak, I remember sitting in my mind, like sitting at home, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna treat this place like it's just a job, and I'm a dip. And the moment before, weeks before that, I started a business, and then I got our job offer, and I was now I'm in another role at another job that's higher up, and it's like starting over from scratch, like all over. But it's a positive environment, so I think that would be the biggest connection for it is seeing her go through that. That would be my biggest connection for it. And then second, if I had to do a second scene, it was Nathan acknowledging his mental health.
Okay, I don't remember that episode, but I guess you'll elaborate on it for me.
Yeah, well, that was when Issa was telling Nathan that her and Lawrence had got back together, and he was like, "I thought you didn't want Lawrence because he was a flake," and Issa was like, he didn't just up and leave like you did, and that's when he said, "I didn't just up and leave. I went to Texas to get tested and found out he had what they call it bipolar. He's bipolar."
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it was that. And I think, just drawing back, I know like we're talking insecure, but just to jump on that moment, we don't acknowledge mental health, of course, a lot, and then I think we question the actions of people within our community when it does come to mental health, and we don't. That's a hard thing to kind of dip in with. It
It
truly is. It's like mental health is not easy.
it's not.
Um, right, and Taraji P Henson is starting her show back about mental health,
Yep.
and she had a
ADHD.
yes, she had a show a clip in the show that she talks about mental health during an interview, and I'm gonna play it now so that way you guys can kind of hear it. But this is a good point of what she put out. So just it talks in melanin people specifically for the most part because we don't. But just take the time to tune in and listen to it.
Issues with mental health, was really open about it, about his manic depression. But as I think back, no one else really talked about it. It was hush hush, or he just crazy, or things like that. For my dad, what he needed was a culturally competent therapist. And it's not even about the skin color or the race, it's about being culturally competent. And the reason why we can't find culturally competent therapists is because at home, in the African American community, we don't talk about mental health. It's a stigma surrounding it. And when you have no one to talk to, what a person usually do is they will try to self-medicate. We're just not allowed to be vulnerable. We have to be strong all the time. This is 400 years of damage, 400 years of trauma that we have not dealt with. And the way we deal with it is be strong. Put on a strong face. Nothing's wrong with you. You don't have mental health. You're not gay. You're not allowed to be human. That's a lie. We hurt and we're suffering. When you think about the trauma the African American community has been through since we've been brought to this country, we have not dealt with that.
That is a very strong statement, isn't it?
Yeah, it was very strong. It was very, very strong because it's key points that we are built to be, especially black men. Oh, you can't cry, you this, you that. You know what I'm saying? Be strong, show no emotion, all of this crap. And then women, be strong. You don't need no man. You don't need nothing. Be this, be that. So that's why the gender roles are messed up, and that can by itself can cause you to be, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
mentally unstable, anxiety, because you got all of this stuff to deal with alone because now you don't want nobody. So now you just trying to maneuver through life by yourself. You got a kid, you working. For a black man, you got family that need you. You got bills. You got
And I mean,
all
I
of
wouldn't even just say, black men, black women, like even on the show, like even on Insecure, if you really break it down, every character on there went through a form of mental
mental
illness.
something
You had
wrong. Yeah.
Lawrence that sat around in depression through almost the whole first entire season. You have Issa who battled insecurities throughout the whole entire show, leading up to moments of depression and anxiety. You have Molly who finally had to seek out mental health. You had Tiffany who went through postpartum depression.
Mm-hmm.
You have Kelly who I feel like use laughter as a substitute and now it's finally breaking.
Breaking
So it's
down.
and you have Nathan who identified as having bipolarism. So I mean I think it's in the show they not like heavily on the surface dealt with talked about it, but it was all exposed on mental health issues and insecurity. And it's not until it took, if you read the storyline or watch the storyline on each character, it wasn't until they decided to love themselves that they were able to grow out of it.
Mm,
So Issa was able to come out of that depression state and stuff like that once she walked away from her job. Molly was able to come out with it when she decided to seek out help and therapy. Nathan went back home to Texas and got tested. Lawrence, finally, him and Issa breaking up got him to step out and
and
do his
moved on.
thing and move on. And
Got,
even throughout that experience, he had to take ownership of a lot of screw ups that he was doing. And even Daniel went through the whole, my mental state is holding me back from succeeding in the music industry. So it was a lot of different situations in the show that I feel like they fully and strongly addressed those mental issues. And like I said, the part that we just played with Taraji is right. It's 400 years of damage. It's a lot of things that we go through in our community, and we are told, no, you don't have mental issues. No, mental issues don't exist. This and that. You just, you got to learn to think higher of yourself, and sometimes being insecure is not an easy overcoming situation. It's just like depression and anxiety. That stuff is not easy to overcome. It's a lot of different things. So I do love that they, Issa Rae creating this show was able to catch the limelight of the community in ways that were very encouraging, transparent, and
relatable.
fluent. Yeah, relatable.
Like it hit home. Like you can see yourself in many characters. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I feel like this, or oh yeah, this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So
Yeah,
it's real.
it changed up the game. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the show. And I'm sad that it's going. It's fifth season. I'm
I
gonna cry,
just hope
y'all.
that Issa do not, what I'm saying, because it can happen. Go back, feel some type of way and go back to Lawrence. Out like
You know what? We may differ on that one. I feel like Issa, when it comes to her love life, when it looks to be complicated or seems to be complicated, she steps off. Same as she did with Daniel, same as she did with Nathan, same as she did with Lawrence. I think once the situation becomes complex for her, then she kind of takes her
well,
step back
yeah,
and she's like, "All right, it's too much, and let me go sit down."
true.
So
So
we'll have to kind of sit
we're
back
gonna
and
see.
see how that situation turns out. But I'm gonna have one more question for you. Well, I have a couple of questions, but I'm gonna have one question on here for you guys that I want you to go leave on the page, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. We're going to be going live soon, so it could be around then. But go check in and answer this question. What have you learned from Insecure? What is your biggest takeaway as the show ends? And what is your hopes for the finale? What do you hope happens as episode number 10 airs on December the 26th? I looked it up. So just figure out
Ooh,
what
yeah,
happens the day after Christmas, right? You get Insecure.
yeah. I'll
So
be home.
right, we all will be. But yeah, just answer that question. What do you want to see for the final, countdown as we go for Insecure? So
Mm-hmm. That's
log
gonna
in
be
for
juicy.
that. Yeah, log in for that. Let us know. Also, like I say, check out the webpage. We did some new ups. So check out the melaninplaybook.com.
Like was it like, share, and subscribe?
Yeah,
Subscribe. Talk. Subscribe.
like, share, and
Subscribe.
subscribe. Right. Because you might check us out for the end of the month and we'll be wearing some We Got Y'all t-shirts. You don't know. But look,
Right. Hey, we
you know
got
what? That
y'all.
would be bad with some the Melanin Playbook. We Got Y'all on the back. That would be hot. And we're going to put it on the hand. Because it's my hand. It's not racist because it's my hand.
We got y'all. We gotta stick together like glue, baby. Down like four flats.
Yes. So with that being said, we're ready to wrap up. Queen, is there anything you want to leave out?
Basically, I just want to continue to say, love yourself, be your true, authentic self, no matter what. Don't let nobody change that. Don't let nothing. Well, try. You can't say don't, but try not to let nothing get in your way, and just be true to yourself. Love self. wholeheartedly, and hopefully you can knock and chip away at those insecurities one by one.
Yeah. I'm going to say, when you feel a moment of insecurity, think about what makes you valuable. Think about your purpose. Think about how much you love you. And those insecurities will fade away. Know that you are the first and most important thing in your life. So make sure that you're loving you day by day. Sometimes you have to do it minute by minute and even second by second. Choose those moments to love you and grow you and keep growing you. Because the more you keep growing to love self, the less you'll have insecurity. So also,
Definitely.
if you want to feel better, on Sundays catch Insecure on HBO, 10 o'clock Eastern time,
Right.
and
Promote.
that will help you work through some things. So shout out to Issa Rae. Thank you for creating an amazing show that lasted 5 seasons. Wish it was going longer, but thank you for dropping it down. The Melanin Playbook is behind you 100% this season, and we will definitely be talking it up on our lives and our Facebook pages because we are fans. So if you guys are Insecure fans, please shout us out and join our Insecure. We're gonna create an Insecure group just for this season. So
Right.
please go in for it because we're gonna be dropping it in on the page. So shout out to y'all. We love y'all so much. We will see y'all on the next episode.
All right.